Hey guys, welcome to the weekly analysis. This is Nick from forexnoobs.com. You're looking at a New Zealand USD daily chart, and today is it's Monday the 5th of March 2018. Time is 19:06 here in the UK. So let's get started with today's webinar. We're going to be looking for reversal setups, continuation setups, all kinds of price action setups across all the pairs I trade. If you're wondering why my camera is freezing, is because every time I turn on my drawing tools so I can draw on my screen, my camera freezes. So unfortunately, you're going to have to put up with a freezing camera every now and then. Anyway, more importantly, we're going to be looking for reversals, continuations across all these pairs that I trade, and also other setups, just price action setups in general. So let's just jump straight into it. What's going on with New Zealand USD? There was a potential long last week on New Zealand USD. Didn't quite hit target, but I mean, a lot of you are probably still in this trade. I didn't end up taking it, but it's still an open trade. It's not being closed out. It hasn't even come close to hitting the stop loss. Is anyone still in this, or did you guys close it over the weekend? Yeah, I figured some of you at least would have closed. I mean, it's not really going too well, but it's not going bad either. It's just hit support again. If you are short, it doesn't look like anyone's short. But yeah, if you are, I would personally probably close this trade. It's had quite some time to hit target, and it just hasn't really done it. So I'd close this trade out. As for what's happening there right now, there's nothing much really. Nothing much going on there right now. So EURUSD, what's going on with that? EURUSD has come back up to resistance, but nothing much going on there right now either. GBPUSD is making its way back up to resistance. Now, let's see if we can get a support area on this pair. Is that one valid at all? Perhaps here is more valid. Yeah, that seems a bit better. How does that line up with the recent bounce? It bounced a bit lower, so we need some support a bit lower than that. Oh, oops. Thanks for pointing that out. I don't know how I did that. Sorry about that, guys. That was a bit of a mistake there. I'm still going to keep this one I placed here. It still looks good. But I'm going to switch up to a 12-hour and also check the daily. This doesn't look that great on the daily, to be fair. This whole area is kind of messy for support resistance, isn't it? It's hard to get good placement here. We're using data from 2016, so it's not that bad. The data. Not the best support resistance area, this one. The one below it seems pretty good. Let's just see how it reacts to these ones. But anyway, that's not that important. These new support resistance areas aren't that important. I just wanted to place them because we needed some a bit lower. But what's more important right now is what's going on with GBPUSD. It's reacted from around about this area. It's pushing back up. So it is in an overall downtrend, quite clearly. I mean, it is trending down pretty heavily. So what I'm going to be looking for would be a continuation from here. So let's keep a very close eye on this this level up here, the 147.80. Looks like we could get a pretty decent continuation set up from there. I mean, it's not even close to forming. It needs to continue to move up and hit that area. But it's just something to watch out for. Keep a close eye on that resistance area up there. USD CHF, what's going on here? It's reversing from this resistance area. There was a short here last week. Did anyone take this one? Oh, you want to know where I placed the support resistance areas? 146 and 144.30. Oh, that's unfortunate, Craig. Looks like no one's in it, so it doesn't really matter then. But nothing going on here right now because it's already reversing. EURUSD, what's going on here? It's it pushed below the support area. I didn't want to go short here because I was looking for a retrace before going short. I was looking for a retrace to resistance here. It did retrace, but it didn't really stall or give us any kind of short setup. It just like smashed straight through that resistance area. So right now, there's not much that I would personally want to trade here. It looks like it's forming a pretty tight range between these two levels. I'm gonna pull my area back up. Actually, let's see if we can adjust this area down a bit. Yeah, I'm going to pull this area down a little bit. I think that's better. So EURUSD is forming into a range between these levels right now. So let's see what's going to happen there. But as it stands right now, there's no clearly tradable setup on EURUSD. You could argue that there is... What is going on? There is an area there. It's a bit of a weak area, but if you want to place one there, you can. It does have some bounces over here, some bounces over there, and it's currently stalling at that area right now. So we could place an area there, but even then, it's not going to give us any kind of setup. It's just too messy right now. It might continue to push up into this area and give us a nice reversal setup, but right now, it just doesn't look that great. So we can't really do much with EURUSD at the moment. Might be worth keeping an eye on. Yeah, let's keep an eye on it. Might be worth that. At least. Right, GBPUSD. GBPUSD looks like it's starting to slope downwards, starting to get into a downwards trend. It's dropped below this support area. Now it's coming back up to test resistance. So this could give us a nice potential short continuation trade. Let's keep a really close eye on GBPUSD. I want to see what happens here. Even on the lower time frames, I mean, look at that on the 6 hour, looks pretty solid there. We have like a nice indecision candle. It's going to close in 2 hours and 46 minutes. Let's see what happens here. This could give us a nice little short trade in line with the what looks to be the forming bearish trend on GBPUSD. Overall, it is still trending up. You can't deny that GBPUSD is in an upwards trend, but it looks like it's getting kind of like a more minor bearish trend, and we might be able to ride that bearish trend down a little bit more. So let's keep a close eye on GBPUSD for a potential short continuation. USD CAD has smashed straight through this resistance area. Been watching this one closely. Wanted to see what happened at this resistance area. See if we get a bit of a pullback, but we definitely didn't. It just went bam straight through it. So now it's pushing up to this next resistance area, the 1.3050. Let's see what happens at that resistance area there. USD is quite strong at the moment. EUROGBP is broken above resistance, coming back down to test at a support. I mean, I'm not going to trade a continuation here. I do see a potential continuation setup, but the numbers are just not that good. I can tell that just by glancing at it for half a second. That long lower wick, those upper wicks there, it's just a mess. I'm not going to do anything with that. AUDJPY, did anyone get into this long? This one triggered earlier today. Oh, what made you decide not to, Craig? Yeah, it is a pretty significant downtrend. You'd be trading against a pretty strong trend. It would definitely be a trade where you're going for a relatively small target. Definitely not a big target on this one. MJ, would I trade against a trend on the 12-hour? I didn't, but I might. It just, well, I'm not saying I might in this case because obviously this trade has triggered. I'm just saying in a similar situation I might, because what I don't think you're seeing right now is that there's two indecision candles here. Those are two 12-hour candles. Yeah, they're split by the weekend, but on the daily chart, combining those two together would still give you indecision. So price has been stalling here for 24 hours, but arguably it's been stalling here for the whole weekend. So it's been stalling here for much more than 24 hours. I think people have a problem with reading price action sometimes because they get too wrapped up on the shape of the candle on a certain time frame. But when you the shape of candles on certain time frames, they are just created by open and close times. So sometimes you'll get two 12-hour candles, but the last, this 12-hour candle, imagine this wasn't a weekend, I'm saying. So this 12-hour candle would be the end of day 12-hour candle, and this one would be the start of the new day. So when you switch up to the daily, these two candles would not appear stuck together. So it wouldn't really appear as indecision. Whereas in reality, price has stalled there for 24 hours. So is that 24-hour stall there not significant simply because it doesn't look like a stall on the daily chart? No, not really. Of course not. 24 hours of stalling is still 24 hours of stalling, still indecision sitting there for 24 hours. So you got to keep in mind that this is why we switch time frames. We want to look at different candles on different time frames and kind of get an idea of what price is actually doing, as opposed to just doing some basic pattern recognition and saying, oh, the shape of that candle indicates this. That's not what price action is. We need to kind of be smarter than that and think more than that. And these two 12-hour candles do suggest that, you know, we could get a pretty decent quick reversal here, even though it's against the trend. You know, you have a small target, a 1.5 risk reward ratio. You might be able to snag that 1.5. So this would not be a long-term trade, not by any means, but, you know, something like this, 1.5 risk-reward ratio, completely feasible that it's going to pop back up to here, even though it's against the major trend. Does that answer your question? Okay, cool. So I'll quickly take a look at USDJPY. USDJPY has broken below support, pump back up to resistance. Price is stalling. No, sorry, it's not stalling. It looked like it was stalling. Well, actually, maybe on the 4-hour, but this candle is only an hour and 20 minutes old, so we can't really say it's stalling. But we could have a continuation here, is all I'm saying. Let's see if price stalls on any of the higher time frames. Maybe the 6-hour, maybe the 8-hour, if we get some indecision here. Could give us a nice little continuation trade. Even without indecision, this could give us a continuation trade. I mean, we have the overall bearish trend, so, you know, could be decent. Yeah. I'm definitely going to keep a watch on this one. I want to see what happens at this resistance area. Could give us a nice entry on a continuation that would go beyond this support area, possibly even. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. USDJPY, let's keep a close eye on that one. AUD New Zealand, nothing much happening there. AUDUSD, stalling on support. It's below the 200 SMA. You know, that's somewhat significant, but at the same time, I'm not going to let the 200 SMA affect whether or not I enter a trade. So we are getting some indecision forming on support. Let's keep a close eye on this. This could give us a nice little bullish reversal trade. So what I'd be looking for here would be a entry on a bullish trade. Probably going to have to enter on a retrace because it doesn't look like we have good numbers on this one. Yeah, it's a horrible risk to reward ratio, so have to enter on a retrace. This is not anywhere near a nice, strong setup. It's a very risky and weak setup. We do have the 200 SMA in the way, so that is, always a small cause for concern, but a cause for concern nonetheless. Risk to reward ratio is horrible. So it's not a good setup, but hey, it's worth keeping an eye on. Some of you who are more open to taking risky trades might want to take a trade here. I'm personally not going to do it, but that's just because I don't like taking bigger risks. GBPUSD, nothing. EURAUD. Stalling at this resistance area. 12-hour daily. Stalling all over the place. Yeah, this can give us a reversal setup. Let's keep a close eye on this one too. So we have a little bit happening to start off this week. We got what? Okay. We got potential short trade on EURAUD. It's not looking great right now. Risk to reward ratio might be good on the 12-hour. We'll keep a close eye on this and see what happens here. It's not quite on resistance, but it's pretty close to it. So it's a bit of a risky setup, but worth keeping an eye on. USDJPY price is coming up to this resistance area. Could very well break straight through this. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to stop here. It could very well break straight through. But if it doesn't, if it stalls here, it could give us a nice continuation trade. I want to see if this bearish trend is going to continue on USDJPY. USD is quite strong right now, so it's probably not. But you never know. Let's keep a close eye on it. EURUSD. EURUSD looking for a potential short here. But actually, no. EURUSD doesn't look that great. I mean, let's just see what happens with EURUSD. We'll see what happens if it pushes up to here and if it stalls. It might give us a potential short trade, but it's really kind of like trapped in this range, and this is a pretty weak resistance area. So it's worth looking at, worth watching this resistance area to see what happens, but don't get terribly excited about the idea of jumping into a short trade here because it's not that great at all. Let's just keep an eye on it and just see how it plays out. GBPUSD could be giving us a continuation trade, so something like that. Let's keep a close eye on that from this resistance area, the 138.40. New Zealand USD, nothing going on there, and I think that was it. Let's just quickly flick through again. GBPJPY, we'll keep a close eye on the 147.80, but it's pretty far from there right now, so we can't really do much with that. USD CAD, we're keeping a close eye on the 130.50, but again, it's pretty far from that, so we can't really do anything with that right now. AUDUSD, yeah. I mean, might be worth keeping an eye on, but I'm not gonna take a trade there personally. But if you want to, if you are more open to taking risks, then might be a good trade for you. I think that wraps it up for the analysis, guys. Is there any questions? Good question. Let me bring up the news. Here we go, guys. Yeah, as you guys know, I trade straight through news these days. So we have 12:30 a.m. current account retail sales. After that, we have the cash rate and the RBA statement. So, and after that, we have Governor Lowe speaking. But that's quite some time after. That's over 24 hours away. I mean, as always, do trade with care through news, especially interest rate announcements and stuff like that, because they can have surprises when there is a speech involved. I'm just gonna take a quick look at all the AUDUSD pairs. So as you guys know, my theory on news, I call it a theory because it can't really be 100% confirmed. My theory on news is that strong setups forming before news are an indicator that news is going to push price in the direction that the setup is suggesting. So the fact that we're seeing that indicates to me that AUDUSD is probably going to strengthen in reaction to news. So yeah, I would say I'm not going to say it's safe to trade it. I'm just going to say that I would personally ignore news in this case, or just trade through news rather than ignore it. I wouldn't ignore it, I would trade through news. Probably going to be a bit of a quiet week this week though. NFP is usually quite quiet. So I don't really foresee much. I mean, obviously that sounds silly. NFP itself is not quiet. The lead up to NFP usually gives us a quiet week until, the Friday when things take off. But that could give us quite a few trades. As usual, NFP results in nice trade setups because you get good, strong setups forming prior to NFP, which are triggered by NFP. Now, are there any other questions, guys? Thanks for watching the analysis. I hope it was useful. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button below. In case you missed it, Forex Mastermind, my online training course and forum, is now open for enrollment for a few days. Check it out by clicking the link below this video. Also, for instant notifications when I post analysis or other cool videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below. Once the setups I share in this analysis trigger, I post live updates as I manage the trade, such as my entry, exit, stop, and when to get out of the trade. For these updates, add me on Facebook or Twitter by clicking the buttons below. I'll see you in the next video.